Here's an American Family News update. I'm Bronson Woodruff. Donald Trump was elected the 47th President of the United States on Wednesday, an extraordinary comeback for a former president who was constantly attacked by Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media and even survived two known assassination attempts. With a win in Wisconsin, Trump cleared the 270 electoral votes needed to clinch the presidency. The disaffected electorate wanted Trump to return to the White House, a blatant rejection of Vice President Kamala Harris and her nearly 4 years with President Biden. As President Trump has vowed to pursue an agenda centered on dramatically reshaping the federal government and retribution against his perceived enemies. The Republicans' victory came from a public so put off by America's trajectory that they welcomed his tough, direct approach. About 3 in 10 voters said they wanted a total turnaround in how the country is run. That's according to AP VoteCast, which is a sweeping survey of more than 120,000 voters nationwide. Even if they weren't looking for something that dramatic, more than half of voters overall said they wanted to see substantial change. Both nationwide and in key battleground states, the Republican won over voters who were alarmed about the economy and prioritized more aggressive enforcement of immigration laws. Anxiety about inflation was high nationally, and voters broadly believed that Trump would be better equipped than Harris to handle the economy and jobs. The key swing states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan largely mirrored the mood of the nation. Israel's prime minister and many European leaders rushed to congratulate Trump even before his victory was officially declared, some more effusively than others. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Trump's election win history's greatest comeback. He wrote on social media, quote, "Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America. This is a huge victory." British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it a historic election victory and said that, quote, "As the closest of allies, the UK and US will continue to work together to protect our shared values of freedom and democracy." Like governments of U.S. allies around the world, Starmer's center-left administration has worked hard to forge ties with Trump and his team. Starmer had dinner with Trump at Trump Tower in September. France's centrist president Emmanuel Macron offered congratulations, respect, and ambition. Social Democratic German Chancellor Olaf Scholz congratulated Trump and said he wanted continued close ties, even if, quote, "surely many things will be different under a Donald Trump-led administration." Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni, whose far-right-led government in some ways is close to Trump politically, said Italy and the U.S. had a strategic bond, which, quote, "I am sure we will now strengthen even more." Stock prices, bond yields, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin surged in the U.S. today as voters returned Trump to the White House and the Republican Party gained control of the Senate. Many investors expect Trump's victory to lead the faster economic growth and more market-friendly policies. Futures for the S&P 500 gained 2.2% before the bell, and futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed to 3.2%. NASDAQ futures rose 1.6%. Futures tied to the Russell 2000 index of smaller companies, which tend to rely more heavily on the U.S. economy for their income, soared more than 6%. The price of Bitcoin jumped nearly 8% to a record $75,345 before falling back slightly. Trump pledged support for cryptocurrencies during the campaign. Shares of the crypto exchange Coinbase rose 13% in pre-market, and almost all cryptocurrencies surged higher, including Dogecoin, which jumped 18%. Bank stocks, which could benefit from less restrictive regulations, rose in pre-market trading. J.P. Morgan, the world's biggest bank by assets, gained nearly 7%. Capital One rose 11.3%. Meanwhile, in Iran, the country's currency fell today to an all-time low on the news of Trump's victory, signaling new changes ahead for Tehran as it remains locked in the wars raging in the Middle East. That'll do it for this AFN News Update. Much more news coming your way, and also you can keep an eye on AFN.net for more news from a Christian perspective. I'm Bronson Woodruff.